Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back. We are here today with Jan and Carmen and me, Patty. And we're going to Killdeer today.
Yes. Blast. I can't wait.
Yep. We love these My Hometown segments because we love North Dakota and hometowns. I think they make the backbone of the state.
We learn something new every time.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love to hear the history of these communities because it's so rich. It just is. Yeah.
It is, and sometimes it's a step back in time too, just to see where they came from and where they're going today. So I don't want to delay here. I want to thank the sponsors of My Hometown Killdeer. We have American Bank Center, Taylor Bang Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club, Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, Grab and Go, Learn and Pole Arena, Todco Welding, Nina's Little Cafe, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner, the Pipe Bar and Grill, where Mary is broadcasting from, Farmers Union Insurance with Bree Ann Hauk, Trucan Construction, JD Fencing and Field Services, Amped Electric, and City of Killdeer. So without further delay, we'll take it over to Mary.
Thanks, ladies. I am sitting in Killdeer, North Dakota, kind of in the heart of the cowboy country. In fact, I think that's the name of their sports team, is the Killdeer Cowboys. But I'm sitting with a cowboy here by the name of Tex Appledorn, with 2 O's, I found out.
Yep.
So Tex, I'm so glad that you were able to talk to us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Killdeer and the ranching community and some of the background of Killdeer. And I know you were a rancher, or you still are a rancher, right?
Well,
here in the
I'm
community.
retired now after about 50 years. That was long enough.
Yeah, that's tired or retired, right?
Yeah, both.
Both? Absolutely. So I know one of the historical places up here, it's called the Medicine Hole. Do you know, can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I'll backtrack just a little bit. Well, my ranch is, my son runs it now, is south of Dunn Center on the Knife River. And right where we live, it's called Rock Springs. And the reason it's called Rock Springs because there's a spring there that runs 50 gallons a minute.
Wow.
Which is one of the best springs around as far as I know.
Even
but
today,
anyway,
is it still running that
oh,
hard
yeah,
today?
it runs, never freezes.
Wow.
And it can be a dry year or a wet year, it runs the same. But anyway, history says that General Sully had stopped there on his way to the Killdeer Mountains. And well, they stopped where there's water, so they stopped there, and then they went up to Killdeer, and then they were going up to the Killdeer Mountain to well, they were going to have a battle. So is that what you wanted to talk about?
Sure, we can talk about, because that is a real strong history. I read that Sully was here, I think, was it 1864?
Yep.
I believe it was 1864.
Right, yeah, that's what it was.
So a battle took place, and it was between the cavalry and the Native Americans of the area, and most of them were Sioux, but I had done some reading. It's like the Sans Arc, the Minneconjous, and the Blackfeet were also here at that time for that battle.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so anyway, tell us, do you know anything about the battle?
Well, not a whole lot. I know a little bit. I mean, they, Sully came from Minnesota supposed to hunt down, some tribes that were, they're on the fight is what they were.
Sure.
But they run into the Killdeer Mountain there, and there were all these Native Americans there, and somehow they got the fight going, and Sully had a lot of troops. There was a lot of, I forgot how many there were, but there were a lot of them. And the Native Americans, well, they kind of didn't have a chance because Sully had cannons and a lot better rifles and stuff like that. And it wasn't too long a battle as far as I heard anyway. Well, anyway, the battle went on. It was pretty short-lived. And they disappeared.
The natives or the cavalry?
The natives, they just disappeared. The cavalry went up there to check out, how much damage they had done with their cannon and how many people were dead and so on. There was nobody around, and as the old saying going, they went through the medicine hole.
Okay.
But they never did see him again. I think they headed north, and if I remember right, they got into Canada.
Okay.
But anyway, there was quite a few Native Americans that lost their lives, and I think Sully, if I remember right, they only lost 5, 6. So, and I think there's a couple of graves up right there close to Medicine Hole.
That's what I heard. I've done a little bit of research on my own, and there was a war. It was called the U.S. Dakota War of 1862 in Minnesota, and I guess it was pretty tragic for the cavalry side as well as the Native American side of it. But Sully came out to try to basically conquer more land for the United States of America. And so whether it's right or wrong, you know, in today's day, we understand that, you know, history is history, and we can't change history, but we can talk about it so that we don't forget what history is all about. But the Medicine Hole then, when I did a little bit of research, it stated that the natives escaped through the Medicine Hole. And I understand that those are actual caverns, and you guys, even as kids, used to play in those caverns.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that went down into them, and I've been up there a time or two, but I mean, there's just a big hole in the ground, you know, and I don't know how they could have got through there, but that's what they say happened.
Yeah, but I understand that.
Must all been thin Indians.
Well, that's probably true back then. You know, I think we were all a lot thinner, you know, in the 1800s, right? All right, so then there was also a legend, because I was here a week ago, you know, just talking to the locals and whatnot, but someone had mentioned that perhaps the cavalry had gotten drunk and the Indians snuck away. And so that makes for a good folklore too. So, you know, when history isn't written down, it's sometimes forgotten. And that's why we're trying to do this show, is to try to bring about and remember what the history was, the history of the small towns in the area.
Yeah.
So you are a rancher. And do you still?
Ex-rancher.
Oh, that's right, retired, a tired rancher.
Yeah.
And so does anyone in the family still run cattle for you?
Yeah, my son is on the ranch now, but my wife and I are still on the ranch. We want to stay there. We have a decent house, and no urge to move to town, because kind of on the Knife River, and it's just a nice place to be.
It is, and you have the Knife River here, but also the Little Missouri River winds through this area too, doesn't it?
That'd be north of here, yeah.
Okay, so we only have a minute left, and we have someone else that's going to talk about the Little Missouri River. So is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well, not that I know of.
Not that you know of. Well, Tex, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your stories with Beck, and we just appreciate it. You know, we got to preserve history, and this is just one way that we can do it.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's a real good idea, because when I look back at some history that should have been done years ago, these old ranchers and stuff, they're all gone now.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, I knew a lot of them, and I guess I should compile some of it, but would have been nice if a guy could have talked to them when they were still alive.
Absolutely. So let that be a lesson for all of us out there. So back to you, ladies.
Wow, he makes a great point. You know, I know that there was something a while back where they were interviewing veterans to get their stories, so it's not forgotten. We need to do that with our elders as well.
Right, because it was a different world back then.
You bet it was.
You know, and so they
Never
really,
go home.
they really are precious for today. That they can
Yep.
tell us what it was like back in the day, and give us a glimpse into the history.
You bet. And I think that's one of the beauties of the Cowboy Hall of Fame now in Medora, because at least some of that history has been captured and put out there. But it is sad how much of it's being lost. And it's a good thing we're doing these shows.
And that's something we always bring out in My Hometown. We always take a look at the history of these towns, and we find somebody with some experience. So, yeah. Okay, well, we're going to learn more about Killdeer when we come back right after these messages with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: American Bank Center, Taylor Bank Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club.
In times like these, it's good to know there's a place where people know who you are, no matter how long you've been gone. A place where the smells of home cooking are still in the air, where a simple wave warms your heart, and sharing stories is just a way of life. it's good to be home. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting what's important in life.
Meet Ivory Hecker Thursday, July 1st at Beck News at 8 p.m. Central Time. Hear Ivory's story and ask her questions of your own in person. Ivory Hecker meet and greet starting at 8 p.m. Central Time at Beck News in Bismarck. Join No Apologies and Ladies of Another View this Thursday, July 1st, as Ivory Hecker speaks about her experiences with the media and Project Veritas. Ivory Hecker on Ladies of Another View and No Apologies with Becker this Thursday on Beck News.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We want to make sure and say thank you to these sponsors for today's My Hometown series in Killdeer: American Bank Center, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Taylor Bang Cattle Sales, Old Crow Corner, Killdeer Saddle Club, The Pipe Bar and Grill, Big George Liquor, Farmers Union Insurance, Brianne Hawk, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, True Can Construction, JD Fencing and Field Services, Grab and Go, Amped Electric, Leaning Pole Arena, City of Killdeer, Toddco Welding, and Nana's Lil Cafe.
So thank you, all those businesses, for sponsoring My Hometown in Killdeer.
That's great.
And we'll go right over to Mary.
Thanks, ladies. We are sitting in Killdeer yet again. We are still here. We're talking with Jean Harris. Jean Harris is the vice president of the Killdeer Saddle Club. And Jean knows just about everything there is to know about all of the rodeo grounds that have been here in Killdeer, starting with Oakdale, if I understand right.
Yes, it did start with Oakdale.
Why don't you kind of tell us the history of the Killdeer Rodeo Roundup? Or I guess it's Killdeer Mountain Roundup is what it's called.
Yes, it is, the Killdeer Mountain Roundup, which was held at Oakdale and it's a 98th annual. This year will be our 98th annual, and we're planning a large celebration for the 100th. And it's, it started in Oakdale.
And how far is Oakdale? Where is Oakdale? Explain to our viewers where Oakdale is.
The Oakdale's at the base of the mountain, of the Killdeer Mountains, on the south side, and it's in a kind of an amphitheater setting there. And when you look back and read the history of that, I mean, they had up to 15,000 people came to the rodeo. And it's just amazing to think of that many people 70 years or 80 years ago came to this area to watch the rodeo.
That the railroad actually brought carloads of people from Bismarck to the rodeo grounds.
Well, they brought them to Killdeer. People with cars then volunteered to take them to the rodeo grounds.
Wow. I had read, there's this rodeo book, okay, so Tex Appledorn loaned this to me on loan. He mentioned that many times, put his name in it on several pages, so he gets it back. But anyway, so it had stated that people would go ahead and give them rides, but the train left Bismarck at 8 o'clock a.m. and promised to get the people back by midnight. So it's interesting. I've just learned so much. And so then tell us how Oakdale ended up in Killdeer, or the rodeo grounds.
Well, the town criers was very active with the saddle club at that time. And so they needed to either redo the rodeo grounds at Oakdale, or the town criers felt that if they brought it to Killdeer, it would just be better for the community, better for the businesses. And so they worked together to do that, and they moved it in here in 1955. We believe is the most accurate year the first rodeo was in Killdeer.
In the town of Killdeer. So it was in Oakdale up until that time?
Yes.
I have a few dates. The 1916, was that the first Killdeer Mountain Roundup?
Well, it might have been the first rodeo, but before that, they didn't have actual stock that was bucking stock. It was just wild horses gathered from, we live northwest of Killdeer, 25 miles. So the Porter Ranch, in the history book, they gathered horses and brought to Killdeer, but a lot of wild horses roamed in the Little Missouri Badlands. And so they'd gather those horses, and so it wasn't Feddick Brothers, it wasn't a stock contractor.
I see.
But in 1923, they had their official stock contractor. And Sam Rhodes came up to Killdeer in this area with the Texas Trail, and then he was the original guy that started the rodeo. And he was I never met him, but he was a character. He would ride around and ride up to somebody's house and knock on the wall early in the morning. And he would always tell them, there's only one occupation that makes their living in bed, and I don't think you're employed in that, so.
That's one way to get a resident of.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, some of the other dates then, in 1921, cowboys gathered at Oakdale, and they had an orchestra with a 4-piece band. And then in 24, they were trying to compete with the Mandan Rodeo days. Mandan says that they're the oldest. In fact, they claim to be older than Prescott. So what is your opinion of that?
Well, we know that we're officially going to be 98 years old this year.
Okay.
And so, yeah, Mandan's got a great history.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But Mandan, you could call a lot of things only in Killdeer.
Yes.
Because as Tex Appledorn, Linnell, and some of the older members, remember the things that happened, and they only happened in Killdeer. And one of them that happened when they brought a group of cowboys in here. Our airport was right by the rodeo grounds in Killdeer, but it wouldn't land a twin-engine plane. So they came with a twin-engine plane, circled the rodeo grounds. They went out and stopped traffic on the highway, landed that twin-engine plane out on the highway.
Oh my goodness.
And brought them in. They competed, took them back, and the sheriff stopped the traffic, and away they went. So you don't do that on I-94 in Mandan, but only in Killdeer will you do that.
Absolutely. What are some other good stories about the the Killdeer Mountain Roundup?
Well, I think one of the early years, some of the world champion Paul Turney calf roping, and then he set the arena record in Killdeer in 1984. And so a lot of people still talk about that. It was in the slack in the morning, and I think everybody in Killdeer was there that morning. And Mike McLaughlin, he actually broke the record at 7 flat earlier in the day.
Wow.
And then Paul Turney was 6'9", but I mean, that's just things that only happen in Killdeer.
Wow.
And it's just, the 2018, we started to make the plan to move the Killdeer rodeo grounds, so we have a new grounds outside of Killdeer now.
Yes.
And so this will be our 3rd year out there, and the Oakdale had an amphitheater type setting on the grass. The rodeo in Killdeer had a hill to sit on, and so the new grounds actually replicates what Oakdale was all about, and it has amphitheater type seating on the grass, and it's just a beautiful spot. And there's a large flag that flies above the arena on the hill, and it's a great tribute to all of the veterans and everybody that makes this country tick.
Amen.
And that flag flies day and night. It's lit, and you can see it from a long ways away. And
Amen.
even the people at the nursing home up here always talk about they go to the west window and can look out to the rodeo grounds and watch the flag fly. So.
Amen. I think our whole world needs more patriots and more cowboys. I think we'd be in a lot better shape.
Yes, I think we would be too. The Western culture is everything that's right with America, and
Amen.
we sometimes forget about that. But
it is, and because it's a very quiet and humble group of people, even trying to find people to get up and speak, nobody likes to speak about themselves. And it's like, well, I can talk about things, but I'm not going to talk about myself. And so that is a tribute to the American West. And I have shivers, I do. So Gene, I do appreciate you coming in and visiting. Just in 30 seconds, do you have anything you want to share?
well, the people in the region have always known that Killdeer's going to have a rodeo on this July 3rd and July 4th. It's been that way for 98 years. We have it at 6:30 each evening. There'll be a dance, there'll be fireworks on the 4th, weather permitting, but
Amen.
it's rained every year. We moved the new arena, we're planning on it raining again this year.
There you go, because we need the rain. So, and I just want to point out, there's a lot of people behind the scenes. This community volunteers. You've never seen volunteers like you have in this community. So, commending them. We can't go without saying thanks to them. So, back to you, ladies.
Thanks, Mary. And we're going to have more of Killdeer right after these messages with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Grab and Go, Lean In Pole Arena, Todd Company Welding. Killdeer, North Dakota celebrates Independence Day with the Killdeer Mountain Roundup Rodeo beginning July 2nd at 5 p.m. Mountain Time with barrel racing and breakaway slack. On Saturday, July 3rd, see the rodeo at 6:30 p.m. followed by the street dance at 9. Then, Sunday, July 4th, enjoy the barbecue at 11 a.m. followed by the parade, Calcutta, the rodeo, and the fireworks display. Find your adventure in Killdeer, North Dakota.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regina. The winning team is the Fleming River Excellence.
Oh my God!
They won!
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Nana Lil's Cafe, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're sure enjoying ourselves here. And meanwhile, we want to thank all of our sponsors for this edition of My Hometown in Killdeer. American Bank Center, Taylor Bang Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club, Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, Grab and Go, Lean and Pole Arena, Todd Co. Welding, Nana's Little Cafe, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner, the Pipe Bar and Grill, Farmers Union Insurance, Brianne Hauk, Trucan Construction, JD Fencing and Field Services, Amped Electric, and the City of Killdeer. Thank you all so much, and we're going to fire you right back over to Mary.
Thanks, ladies. We are in Killdeer, North Dakota, and I'm sitting with Linnell Sandvik. And that Sandvik name is pretty famous in the area. A lot of rodeo cowboys and stock come from this area. But Linnell, you're going to talk to us a little bit about the Killdeer Mountains, the trail rides, the scenic highways. Why don't just take it away? Tell me all about what Killdeer has to offer.
Well, Killdeer is really out in the west, and we promote the natural activities. For instance, a few miles south or east of here is the Lake Ilo Wildlife Refuge, and it's world-renowned for birding opportunities. There's about 3,000 acres of prairie grassland and wetlands. And then if you go a little farther to the north of the Killdeer Mountains, and the Killdeer Mountains feature a wildlife management area of about 7,000 acres. And then continue north. All of these are on the scenic byway. You come to the Badlands and Little Missouri State Park. Little Missouri State Park is located, entirely in the Badlands. And it's a very unique situation there. There's about 6,000 acres in the park. The state owns 1,000, and they lease the other acres from the local ranchers. They just have a trail lease so that people can come with their horses and ride the trails or hike the trails. In fact, it's only accessible by hiking or horseback riding.
Oh, nice. And so you used to have a trail ride business, but you retired from that, I understand. But as far as the trail riding, there's still plenty of trail riding available in the area that you used to have trail rides. Is that right?
Oh, yes. I took out guided rides for 40 years in that area. Now the park has really built up for the riders. There's several sets of corrals. There's a round pen. They have modern campsites. I looked up on the number of visitors one year, and there were approximately 1,300 visitors that didn't have horses, but 2,600 came with their horses and rode in 1 year. There's about 45 miles of trails in the park.
Okay, so I've heard from friends that on some of these trails, they'll be coming around a corner and there's someone coming the other way, and it's nothing but straight down, and they said they just close their eyes and let the horse do what it does. Any truth to that?
You've got it right.
Yeah, I've heard that. So, and it's kind of funny because the horse is so sure-footed, they just know what to do.
Exactly. You have to trust your horse.
Right. Okay. And so how far away did these trail riders come from? Do you know? Other countries or kind of just within the tri-state area? Or
they come from several different states. When we did the trail rides, when I would check at the end of the year, we usually had guests from at least 40 different states and several foreign countries.
Okay, and so there's the cabins. If a person wants to come here and do some trail rides, do they rent from the state, or are there private cabins available yet, or who do they contact for that?
The cabins are adjacent to the park, and my daughter manages them. Now there's 5 rustic handmade cabins. We built them ourselves, but they do have heat and air conditioning and
Oh, wonderful. So it has some of the luxuries of city living right out here in the country.
Right.
You know, it does get hot. It's going to be 100 degrees today. So, hey, we could all use that air conditioning. So, all right, you are also the mother of a 12-time NFR National Finals Rodeo qualifying bareback rider, Larry Sandbig. And you had told a couple cute stories last week. One of them bucking out some herd bulls, if I remember correctly.
Well, we make them tough out west here. Larry's dad and I were gone for a couple hours, and we came home, and down in we had an arena on our place. Many local cowboys came and practiced there. But here they had the herd bulls in the chute. Larry he would have been 8 years old then. And,
8?
And his sister was 6. And he got his sister to help him get those bulls into the chutes so he could practice bull riding.
Oh my gosh.
And to get her to do that, he had to play Barbie dolls for so many minutes to get her to come down and help him in the arena for so many minutes.
Can you imagine an 8-year-old boy getting herd bulls in? That's how they build them out here, you guys. They're tough, this I swear. And then there was another story about a trail ride he was on. Someone saddled his horse.
Right, and they didn't tighten the cinch enough, and the saddle turned under the belly of the pony. But he'd always been told, hang on, be a cowboy, you know, be tough. Well, he hung on as this pony galloped for almost a mile. And first his boots drug off, and then his socks, and then his pants. And then the pony went over, there was an old homestead, and there was some metal sticking up, and that hit his hands, so he turned loose of the horn, and
wow.
Finally turned loose.
Wow, so that's how they make tough cowboys out here. You just hang on, and I just can't imagine an 8-year-old boy, you know, doing this kind of stuff, but that's how you build them. You just, you know, be tough, because, you know, life is tough. You might as well just learn it right out here.
Well, when he rode the pony, he was 4.
Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
don't let go. Wow, great lessons. Anything else you want to quickly share with us?
Well,
the Killdeer Mountains are just beautiful scenery, just fantastic. Does it look kind of like the Medora area, the Badlands area, or not?
Our Badlands in this area are much more rugged than Medora. There isn't quite as much red color like at the Painted Canyon, but they're considered the more rugged part.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess I just want to thank you for joining us today, and thank you for sharing your stories right here with Beck and Ladies of Another View. Back to you, ladies.
So forget carnival rides, right? Just take a horse, and when you get to the cliff, close your eyes.
Oh, no.
And a 4-year-old riding a horse upside down in the saddle for a mile.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
ridden horses as a young child and gotten thrown off of them as well, and I can't imagine hanging on for that long.
Right, right. And you know, that's one of the things that we've kind of talked about on this show. I think when you build them tough like that, and when you live on the land like that, where tough is what you strive for. You don't strive for comfort, you know? And so it's a whole different lifestyle, and it's so awesome to hear these stories. And you know, just think about even that campground that she was talking about. We had a chance to go last year, and then COVID canceled it, and now this year we can't go. But it sounds like an amazing place up there, and I would love to see that. At some point, we just need to take off and go up there.
Road trip.
Right, yeah. Even if you're not going to do the trail rides.
Well, they said you can walk them too, right?
Right,
And,
just
yeah.
the scenery itself, to know that it's just like the Badlands.
But just think of it, you can't even drive in there. You either have to ride it or you have to walk it, because you can't drive in. So that's the Old West, you know? That's pretty cool.
Right, yeah, so
For
get
sure.
a glimpse of it, go to Killdeer. And we're going to learn more about Killdeer when we come back right after this with Ladies of Another View on Back.
My hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: 2 7/8 The Pipe Bar and Grill, Farmers Union Insurance, Breanne Hauk, Trushan Construction.
In times like these, it's good to know there's a place where people know who you are, no matter how long you've been gone. A place where the smells of home cooking are still in the air, where a simple wave warms your heart, and sharing stories is just a way of life. It's good to be home. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting what's important in life.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Meet Ivory Hecker Thursday, July 1st at Beck News at 8 p.m. Central Time. Hear Ivory's story and ask her questions of your own in person. Ivory Hecker meet and greet starting at 8 p.m. Central Time at Beck News in Bismarck.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: JD Fencing and Field Services LLC, Amped Electric, the City of Killdeer.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and we sure are learning a lot and hearing some fun stories about Killdeer, North Dakota, and seeing some beautiful scenery.
True.
And I want to thank the sponsors of this show: American Bank Center, Taylor Bang Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club, Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, Grab and Go, Lean and Pole Arena, Todd Co Welding, Nana Lil's Cafe, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner, 2 and 7th 8th Pipe Bar and Grill, Farmers Union Insurance with Bree Ann Hawk, True Can Construction, JD Fencing and Field Services, Amped Electric, and the City of Killdeer. And back to you, Mary.
Thanks, ladies. We are in Killdeer, and I'm talking with Tony Wedge. And Tony, welcome to the show. But I think, we've been talking a little bit beforehand. I just have to say, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I will not answer that.
Okay. With that, I tell you,
No way.
Awesome. Well, we want to talk about the history of Killdeer. The Killdeer Mountains, brought the area in. But tell us how Killdeer started. Your family was kind of big in the business in the background.
My dad and my uncle, they started here, I think, a year after Killdeer started. And I think Killdeer was 1914, and they started in business in 1915.
And what kind of business was it?
A grocery store. Because before that, when they were immigrants from Ukraine. So that makes me a second generation immigrant.
Did
you know
go.
that? So anyway, they did well in the little place that they rented from Grayson's, and they were in the real estate business and farmlands and stuff like that. With all the immigrants coming in, and You know, it's unbelievable. And then eventually they built a store downtown, right where the Buckskin is at now. The saloon, they built that in 1928. But other than that, all the other stores that were in town, well, like the Gamble store, and old Jim Olenek, he had the sweet shop, you know, and I knew all them old guys, and they were all my friends. And I had so many friends that like Don Seidel and Tony Seidel and all them, we ran the downtown. I mean, that was our playground. We played in the back alley. We played out at the stockyards, swinging on the gates, and but then all of the people that developed Killdeer, I mean, so many good people. And the 25th Killdeer anniversary had a big celebration, and I think my dad was mayor at that time, and but then they had my Zimbrick's department store. They set up a deal there, and Leo Harris was the photographer at that time, and he took 1 million pictures, and he really did a good job with it. And so all of us kids were all lined up down below, and then everybody in the whole town, I swear, I don't know if how many people still have the picture of that, but they're from the lawyers, all the grocery people and all that stuff. But you know, Killdeer was actually settled by so diversified as far as the people. I mean,
so what were most of the immigrants? Were they from the Ukraine? It seems like there's a lot of Germans and Norwegians in North Dakota.
They were from all over. I mean, we had Irish up north, the Murphys and the Conleys, and they were the Irish. And north of Dunn Center, that was Norwegian. Yep. And Whetstone, that was Norwegian. And Fayette was Russian and German. And down around, get down around New Raddick, of course, and then you get into the Slavic.
Slavic, okay.
You know,
it's kind of like Czechoslovakia, isn't it?
Yeah, call them Czechs and whatever they were. we didn't have much to do with them people. They did their trading in Dickinson.
Okay, and sometimes they held together in their own clans, basically.
Right.
Some people, some of those groups did.
But like, they all work together, and they're all good customers, and I loved them all. I mean, my dad could speak. He couldn't speak Norwegian, but he could speak Russian very good.
Yes.
And German very good, and I don't know how many other languages he knew, but then he did really well. And I would ask, I'd want to learn how to talk Russian, and he taught me a lot of swear words, and I won't say them, but other, and then of course German, and then. But I would, these old Russian ladies, they would come into the store, and I knew how to count. I learned how to count in Russian, and I knew like bread, that's chleb, and meat and stuff like that, you know. And when they would come in, they'd tell me what they wanted. Back in them days, we didn't have self-service. They told us what they wanted, and we went and got it, and packed it up for them. And then when they got all done, I'd add it all up, and then I'd tell them in Russian that how much it was. Oh, dobry klopoc. That means a good boy.
Oh, awesome.
I was a good boy.
Awesome.
So, but like the sweet shop, Jim Olenek, you know, he sold ice cream, bulk ice cream. You know, I mean, he packed it up. You want a pint, he'd fix it. And but he was in business for God knows how many years. But that was one of the banks that was in Killdeer. That was before my time. And but then we had, I think, 3 banks in Killdeer.
Wow.
And back in the early days, I remember when we had like grocery stores. Anderson's Quality, Wetcher's Jack and Red and White back in them days, and then Seidel had IGA, and then Red Owl came in, and then the co-op. So we had all them grocery stores there.
Yeah, someone had said there was 5 or 6 different grocery stores,
right,
and 6 different bars.
I remember them all. Like a guy by the name of Rustaban, he had one right there about where the post office is now, and right down the line. But all good people, good competitors, and the drayman in the wintertime, we'd hook up with our sled and back of the dray, and he'd pull us all over town. He'd have a whole string of kids on their sleds.
Oh.
Because he had 2 old horses, and I forget what their names were. But anyway, didn't pay a bit of attention to us. And old Hugh McGowan, he was the one of the drivers. Because I knew them all, and I can't think of one that is still alive. I'm the survivor.
Well, and we do have to say it is Tony's birthday today. He is 95 years old, if you can believe that. But your little claim to fame here, you have a secret recipe for tiger meat.
It's not secret.
It's not?
No, I've given it away to 1 million people, not 1 million. I even typed it all up, put it on a sheet, you know, and anybody that wants it, I gave to them.
But you didn't tell them how to tweak it, I bet. That's how...
Well, there's no secret.
Okay.
But
All right.
You gotta have good meat.
Good meat.
That's and of course when we had a slaughterhouse, I
Sure.
built a slaughterhouse.
Okay.
And we killed bulls.
Okay.
And the bull meat, it was really lean, and they were young bulls, and but then they 99% lean, and that's what makes good tiger meat.
Perfect. All right, with that, Tony, we're going to have to run. We're running out of time. It just went so quickly.
Let's
Tell
go.
you what, but back to you, ladies.
Thank you, Mary.
He's a hoot.
Yeah.
No
he's fun.
kidding.
I'd love to have a conversation with him.
And 95 years old, he's doing well.
Yeah, and just quick-witted still, and didn't have to stop and really think about his words or anything like that. That's amazing. He just looks so healthy and vibrant still. I love seeing that.
Right, yeah, and good memories from the past, too, where you just had the town was your playground as a kid, the candy store, and a lot of your friends, their dads and moms own businesses. So,
Back alleys, it's great.
That's when
Yeah.
community is family, you know, and they still have that in small towns, and it's wonderful. It
Well,
just is.
stick with us. We'll learn more about Killdeer right after this with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: American Bank Center, Taylor Bank Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club. Join No Apologies and Ladies of Another View this Thursday, July 1st, as Ivory Hecker speaks about her experiences with the media and Project Veritas. Ivory Hecker on Ladies of Another View and No Apologies with Becker this Thursday on Beck News. Killdeer, North Dakota celebrates Independence Day with the Killdeer Mountain Roundup Rodeo beginning July 2nd at 5 p.m. Mountain Time with barrel racing and breakaway slack. On Saturday, July 3rd, see the rodeo at 6:30 p.m. followed by the street dance at 9. Then, Sunday, July 4th, enjoy the barbecue at 11 a.m. followed by the parade, Calcutta, the rodeo, and the fireworks display. Find your adventure in Killdeer, North Dakota. My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness. During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars
For just $39.99.
Order right now and you can double it.
Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight, just pay a separate fee.
We'll even ship them to you free.
This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner
Oh my God!
They won!
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Grab and Go, Lean In Pole Arena, Todd Company Welding.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We would like to let you know that we have some awesome sponsors for this segment of My Hometown in Killdeer. It's American Bank Center, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner, Taylor Bang Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club, 2 7/8 Pipe Bar and Grill, Big George's Liquor, Farmers Union Insurance, Brianna Hawk, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Trucan Construction, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, JD Fencing and Field Services, Grab and Go, Amped Electric, Lean and Pole Arena, City of Killdeer, Toddco Welding, and Nana Lil's Cafe. And we're going to send it right back to Mary so we can learn more.
Thanks, ladies. We are in Killdeer, North Dakota, and I'm visiting with Kathy Trampy. Kathy is a part-time volunteer over at the Dunn County Historical Museum, and it's a little bit, just a few miles outside of Killdeer right here, but it is the place to go if you want to know history of the area. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the museum?
Okay, excuse me. The museum is on the site where the Dunn County, or Dunn Center School used to be. And the school was in need of repair, and it was too costly to redo it for a museum. So they tore it down. They rebuilt the historical museum, and it's located in Dunn Center, North Dakota. It's 7 miles east of Killdeer, and it holds the rich history of the West. You can spend a day viewing all the historical exhibits at the museum. The main museum, you can learn knife river flint, you see sewing machines, clothing, buggies, military clothing and medals, a table with information on the Dunn County servicemen. There's a replica of the railroad that came through Dunn Center in 1914, and it was made by Neil Thomas. There's a 1929 Nash car. There's mounted animal heads, lots of display areas that will take you back in time. There's oral histories that have been recorded of Dunn County residents, where books and CDs can be ordered. And we have the privilege that we acquired the bound collection of the Dunn County Killdeer Herald newspapers from 1915 to 2019,
Wow.
which have been used for research.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, it's been donated by the country media. We lost our county paper in November of 2019, and we have the Beulah Beacon as our county paper now.
How far is Beulah from here?
About 43 miles to 50. We also have, on the grounds, we have a one-room schoolhouse, the first bank of Dunn County from Manning, North Dakota, and a weather-beaten homesteader shack, a building with several fire trucks, REC truck, wrecker, and lots of horse-drawn equipment, and lots of surprises in there. We have a log cabin that needs work done on it, so we can open the door. Our museum is keeping history alive, and it's open Thursday through Sunday from 10 to 4 from May 27th to September 6th, and it's also open by appointments.
Okay, so when you talk about the different buildings, if I were to compare it to something, Bonanzaville and Fargo comes to mind. Is it kind of the same thing where you have all these different buildings? Because initially I thought it was one building, you go in, here's a museum, but you actually have buildings to poke around in, is that?
Yes, yes. We have other buildings that we have to open up and show people.
Oh, wonderful.
And a lot of history behind the doors.
Absolutely. I've learned so much just sitting here today and last week as well. The Killdeer Mountains themselves, I had heard that they, in their day, like millions of years ago, they were bigger than the Rocky Mountains. And what had happened over time, the volcanoes dropped a lot of ash, and that's what has buried them. That's in the North Dakota history. So you also had mentioned that we have a site called the Lost Bridge. What do we know about the Lost Bridge? We only have about a minute left.
Okay. The Lost Bridge is a 3-span riveted Parker through truss bridge designed by the North Dakota Highway Department and constructed in 1930 over the Little Missouri River, 22 miles north of Killdeer on Highway 22. The bridge is associated with the Great Depression and stood relatively unused until approach roads were constructed in 1953 and paved in 1963 on the north side and in 1967 on the south side. Thus, the bridge is well known in the state as Lost Bridge. In short, this bridge was built to employ workers during the Depression, but without roads leading to it, it was left unused for decades. The Lost Bridge was dismantled in 1994. It was a shame to see this bridge demolished, but there is a piece of the bridge that was erected alongside Highway 22 after it was taken down. The new highway bridge has no superstructure above the railroad, so it doesn't have all the metalwork above.
Right, right. So basically, the Lost Bridge was a bridge that was built with no roads going to it. So with that, we have run out of time, but Kathy, I do appreciate you being here and sharing your history with us. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks,
Bridge
Mary.
sounds like something the Biden administration would do today.
Do you remember back when McCain ran and Sarah Palin, and that was the big tagline, was the bridge to nowhere up in Alaska that they spent millions of dollars on? And I was kind of thinking of that
And
one.
Killdeer is somewhere, you know. I haven't been there, but especially after seeing those great pictures of the mountains, I really would like to make it out there.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon. Well, join us again tomorrow. Coming up next is Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp. And we'll see you tomorrow with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Nana Lil's Cafe, Last Chance Ranch Steakhouse, Old Crow Corner.
In times like these, it's good to know there's a place where people know who you are, no matter how long you've been gone. A place where the smells of home cooking are still in the air, where a simple wave warms your heart, and sharing stories is just a way of life. It's good to be home. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting what's important in life.
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: 2 7/8 The Pipe Bar and Grill, Farmers Union Insurance, Breanne Hauk, Trushan Construction. Killdeer, North Dakota celebrates Independence Day with the Killdeer Mountain Roundup Rodeo beginning July 2nd at 5 p.m. Mountain Time with barrel racing and breakaway slack. On Saturday, July 3rd, see the rodeo at 6:30 p.m. followed by the street dance at 9. Then, Sunday, July 4th, enjoy the barbecue at 11 a.m. followed by the parade, Calcutta, the rodeo, and the fireworks display. Find your adventure in Killdeer, North Dakota. My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: JD Fencing and Field Services LLC, Amped Electric, the City of Killdeer. Meet Ivory Hecker Thursday, July 1st at Beck News at 8 p.m. Central Time. Hear Ivory's story and ask her questions of your own in person. Ivory Hecker Meet and Greet starting at 8 p.m. Central Time at Beck News in Bismarck. My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: American Bank Center, Taylor Bank Cattle Sales, Killdeer Saddle Club, Join No Apologies and Ladies of Another View this Thursday, July 1st, as Ivory Hecker speaks about her experiences with the media and Project Veritas. Ivory Hecker on Ladies of Another View and No Apologies with Becker this Thursday on Beck News.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regina. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellence.
Oh my God!
They won!
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Big George's Liquor, Charging Eagle Enterprises, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
My Hometown in Killdeer is brought to you by the following: Grab and Go, Lean In Pole Arena, Todd Company Welding,